It was 15,677,450, but in 2019-2020 financial year, 168,600, a difference of another 14 million. So what is happening in Lamu? Or the people did not receive flowers during that time, Governor, or even Mira.
On unsupported on-source revenue.
Thank you, Chairman. We are guided. Unsupported on-source revenue. The statement of receipts and payments reflects on-generated revenue balance of 108,433,650, and as disclosed in Note 9 to the financial statements. However, management did not provide detailed schedules of the revenue collection indicating the name of payee, receipt or transaction numbers, and specific amounts collected manually. The receipts were lumped together and were not classified as per revenue collector. Further, review of sampled permits attached to the payment records indicated that that management was using a series of business permit receipt books that were issued in the year 2015 and have never been returned. In addition, there were cases of business permits with same serial numbers indicating that parallel permits were being used and hence pilferage of revenue. In the circumstances, the accuracy, completeness, and priority of own-generated revenue amount of 108,433,650 shillings could not be confirmed. Mr. Chairman, there is a related issue in another section. I don't know whether we can deal with it at the same time.
On source revenue, there's an issue on
page 7, digital revenue system.
Okay, I think then just since they're related, please go through it.
As reported previously, management procured a digital revenue system from 3 companies at a cost of 54 million. In June 2020, one of the suppliers was paid an amount of 285,000 as consultancy and maintenance fee. However, management had reverted to manual collection of revenue from 1st January 2020. Further, there was no official communication authorizing the use of manual system, and there was no clear explanation provided as to why the automated system was terminated. It was also noted that there were no reports generated from the abandoned revenue collection system. In the circumstances, I'm unable to confirm if there was value for money in the 54 million incurred in procurement of the revenue collection systems and consultancy and maintenance fee of 285,000. Thank you, Chairman.
Okay, so there are 2 issues, but they are related. One deals with the practice in that year. The other one deals with the entire, environment around management of on-source revenue. So, Governor, give us your response first on unsupported on-source revenue.
Thank you, Chair. During the year under review, the county government of Lamu collected revenue manually of Kenya shillings 108,433,650. This was collected by our revenue officers, and the payments are supported by monthly reports, which show the amount collected per stream during that particular month. Kindly see a sample of the monthly report and bank reconciliation statements. Currently, revenue collectors fill receipts and also record all the receipts in a daily collection.
That sample is in which appendix? You've said kindly see a sample.
Appendix 3.
Okay, proceed.
Currently, revenue collectors fill receipts and also record all the receipts in a daily collection sheet, which are used as control sheets. Revenue supervisors verify daily collection control sheets against the pay bill statement for each collector. The revenue accountant then generates a daily collection report, which is used to compile monthly reports. All receipt books were returned except for 2 receipt books. The revenue officers who did not return the receipt books had their contracts terminated and they are no longer in service. And we alerted the public and warned them against them through the respective ward administrators. Kindly see attached copy of an audited CRB register indicating the date and the receipt books returned. In Appendix 3, we have monthly report for the financial year ended 2021, and bank statements, extract of receipts, daily control sheet, daily collection report, and monthly report, and the CRB.
Is there any appendix that has evidence of the action taken on the revenue officers, whom you are saying their contracts were terminated? Is that before us?
I don't think so, Chairman.
So it remains a story. Okay. Auditor General, what do you make of this response?
Our biggest concern is that the Appendix 3 that has been given, the monthly report, is an Excel sheet, which is not dated, it is not signed or owned by any officer. Similarly with the local revenue extracts from the bank statements, this is information that when you get to the system, you can still amend and get another figure. So we still have doubts about the authenticity of this amount.
Senator Nyonka?
Your Excellency, I want you to go to Annex Volume 1, Appendix 1 to 3. You go to page I think it's supposed to be page 617. OAG, when did this audit take place?
The audit took place in 2022,
Yes.
and it was concluded by it being signed by the Auditor General on the 5th of May 2022, Chair.
Thank you. During your presentation, did you hold your management meetings with you and OAG? Did you meet? You were supposed to respond to some of the issues they have raised. So go to that page 17. If you look at, go to 1718, the last receipt. And that's why for us, we believe the OAG than believing in you guys. If you look at one receipt, same number, 393674. It is the same receipt which is followed up on the following page, number 2, page 20, 393674. You see what I'm saying? The Auditor General says that when they took your receipts, they were repeating themselves in serialization and in the numbers. So go to page, I'll help you, page 19. The last receipt at the end, which is 393674. You see it? Now go to page 20. 393674 is the same receipt. And then you go to the next one, you can go to page 21, 393692. And then right below that, you have on page 22, 393692. These are the same receipts. The serial numbers are following each other. Number 3, I'm not a handwriting expert, but Governor, look at those receipts. It is the same person who actually wrote all those receipts with the same handwriting. Why should I assume that this money has not been stolen?
Governor?
Senator,
Yes.
I think there was a duplication of the copies, because it's not only the receipts you pointed, all of them, it's a repeat. So these were...
I'm saying this is the
are those
evidence
the
you've
things
given
the
me.
auditor is querying?
It's querying. That is what the auditor is saying. That you brought evidence here where 2 receipts are being accounted for money that has got a problem, Governor. So you are giving me receipts and I could go through, they're about 400 pages. I could go through each and every those, and they're repeating themselves. And this is an audit that was done in 2022, and it's not you, sir. It is these people that you brought who are in charge of your office. And for us, we receive the evidence. So when I get this evidence, then what do I conclude? Governor. And particularly that this is money that you're collecting at the local level manually.
From the women, from the youth, from the hustlers. Senator Cherargei, you sought to intervene.
Yes. Mine is just to ride on what Senator Onyonga said. It looks like, Governor, there was a parallel collection of all source revenue. It was a duplication. When you look at, says, in the observation of the Auditor General, in addition, there were cases of business permit with same serial number, indicating that parallel permits were being used, and hence pilferage of revenue. So, Governor, where is this other money, apart from the one that was declared? Number one. Number two, in that year under review, what was the bucket of own source revenue in that year that were supposed collections were? And finally, administrative action is not sufficient enough. I would have expected, since these are criminal offense, two books, a series of payment records that they're using, series business that, in fact, it does not say two. I think it says business permit receipt books that were issued and have never been returned. How many were they? That is my second question. And finally, through you, Chair, firing them or terminating. Let's assume these were even one receipt books and you are collecting from hustlers. As the chair has said, these 30 shillings, 50 shillings, it means a lot to somebody in Lamu. It might mean less to some people, but it means a lot. So apart from firing these individuals, which we have not seen evidence, let's assume that's administrative action, why did you report to the police? Because if today I'm found with KRA receipts, it's a criminal offense under the law. So why did you find it wise to report these people after firing them? So that this is the state property. The receipts that were being used to collect the money is serious. How sure are we that person might have not even ahead and duplicated even more receipts and be collecting as the observation of the auditor has been done? So apart from firing them, which is good, and I hope you'll give us evidence of the same, why did you report to the police? Because this is a criminal offense. And if you are reported, where is the OB number? So that, you know, when you appear in Senate, we try and mitigate. You give your side of the story as to why you didn't comply. Chair, those are my three questions. Are the other on digital revenue or later?
Yeah, we can come to the digital once you're done with the 108 million. Governor?
To answer the Honorable Senator, this happened in 2021. So by the time I came in, these people are no longer in our employ. And I could not report 3-4 years down the line.
And who was there and then?
There's an HR director in this delegation, isn't it?
He was there and then?
From the introductions.
Yes, yes, there is.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you can take the cross.
The HR director is in this delegation, I believe, for matters such as this. Because the governor, you said you only came with people with relevant audit issues. So, Director HR,
there.
were you in office then? But even if you're not in office,
yes,
is there evidence that the administrative action taken in this case was documented and was procedural?
Honorable Chair, yes, we can get the evidence. What I can say to this honorable committee is that maybe we did not provide it as evidence to the auditors. There were various issues. There are guys who were serving on contract terms. Renewal was not done, and other administrative
No,
procedures.
we are talking about the guys who are holding on to receipts. to revenue receipts. You know, that's like cash.
Right.
The governor said here in his response that their contracts were terminated. Is there evidence to that effect? And how many are they?
Honorable Chair, can I request that I should be able to look into the records of the
But
same issue?
Governor, why did these guys come to Nairobi? Did they come for a trip?
We know the answer.
Governor,
There were
just
two staff.
Just a minute, Governor. And I think this is just for future. That if you're going to call these gentlemen and ladies to Nairobi, they must also be familiar with what you're coming to submit on. Because I believe they're coming because they're subject matter experts. You as a CEO, you don't understand, you don't know everything. So this is just for guidance. Next time you come here and say that you terminated a contract, provide evidence of that. Then we close the matter and say that we are satisfied that the governor has taken measures. Now you see we are on a matter that perhaps it's not very valuable in terms of money, but we must deal with it. So if you are an officer and you are accompanying the governor, do not expose your governor to ridicule. Please prepare your governor properly. And if records are in your possession, provide them, attach them. Because if you didn't give them to the Auditor General, this is your only final chance to confirm that an illegality was not committed. So I think to that extent, Governor, I must reprimand your officers for not providing that supporting documentation. But you seem to be aware that there were two officers?
There were two members of staff involved. One was a lady and another was a man. And they were on contract. What I can confirm is right now they are no longer in service. So I don't know whether they were terminated or the contract expired, but they are no longer staff of the county.
How many receipt books? Maybe just
And
quickly
one
check.
each.
One each, so they
Yes.
disappeared with one.
Yes.
Okay.
Senator
Yeah.
Onyonka?
Governor, my point is you could have said that to the auditors and we wouldn't be on this issue.
I was not there.
No, even now, institutional memory allows you to pick from where your predecessor left. You would have just said exactly what you said.
Governor, the signatory to these financial statements
Are you a former officer?
is present,
It's closer.
is in your front table,
Yes.
the signatories to this account. And you have retained them because you have confidence in them. And I've told you, if you have retained bandits, do not expect anything different. Unless you have done some process of sanctification, baptism, and all those things to change them. But you're not going to solve the problem using those who caused the problem. Now, going back to the on-source revenue, I know Senator Cherargei had asked what the target was.
Yes.
But the fundamental question was, if you've indicated that you collected 14.3 million as business permits, what the Auditor General was asking for was a breakdown of those who paid this business permit. Is that not the case, Auditor General?
That's the case.
So have you presented that breakdown to the Auditor General? You collected 14 million.
Let me ask the
As business
chief
permits.
officer to respond to that, Chair.
Do you have that schedule?
We don't have the schedule. The only schedule we have, everything was banked.
Who pays single business permit? Isn't it people operating businesses in Lamu? And for you to pay for a business permit, you must have some form of registration. I mean, you must be an entity. You must be a company or an individual. So how do you collect it without maintaining a register of who you collected from? Governor, just help me. I know you are not in office, but how in God's name does that happen? That you have collected 14 million as single business permit, but you cannot show the auditor
Who paid?
who paid the 14 million. How do you even do enforcement to shut down those without business permits? Governor, we need to proceed a bit faster.
Yes, Chair. I think it is strange that we are not able to provide that.
So it draws us to the conclusion that money was collected and stolen by county officers, because in the absence of that schedule, then we cannot confirm that the 108 million was a true reflection of what was collected.
Chair, right now, we have set up a GIS
No, leave alone
lab.
right now.
Yeah,
Let's first deal with this audit issue.
right.
If you cannot break it down, then we agree with the Auditor General that the accuracy and completeness of the 108 million is in doubt.
Though, if you see the bankings, this amount was banked. It must have come from.
Yes, that is a problem in counties, that sometimes the banking and the collection is different. That is a problem in counties.
Yeah.
You only bank the portion you want to bank and pocket the rest of the collected
The
amounts
balances.
because you are collecting manually using receipts. If it was automated, I would believe you. But guys are going around with receipts. Then they bank at the end of the day. Don't they bank what they feel like banking and pocket what they feel like pocketing? Governor, you are putting up a poker face. That you are trying to, you are putting up a poker face. I believe you know what I'm talking about. And even if you're not going to say it, we are going to say it. That money was stolen in Lamu through this. Senator Onyonka.
You know, as a lawyer, I cannot come to the conclusion that money was stolen unless I have the evidence.
Your Excellency.
From their records, from their records, for that year, they said they collected 108 million, and I saw bank statements showing they did in fact collect and banked 108 million. But manual collection is prone to abuse.
Yeah, and this is not a civil procedure. This is an accounting and audit process that is guided by different standards and different frameworks. If you're not able to confirm that how the 108 million was collected, then we reach the conclusion that the Auditor General has reached. Accuracy and validity and completeness of that amount is in doubt. Senator, maybe Senator Mariam Omar.
I just wanted to, through you, Chair, I wanted to remind the Governor that the question we are dealing with is not whether the money was collected or not. The issue we are dealing with is for you to give us the evidence to ascertain that the 10 million you are talking about is actually valid. So without that evidence, what you've put here is less than what we expected you to have collected. But you are not the governor then. So your officers should be able to tell us whether this is what they used to do. Because the evidence you have, and right here, Your Excellency, we believe them. If you give me an opportunity, I take what they say and I will ignore exactly what you're saying. Because of the evidence provided. That's, at least I'm happy you said you know that it's open to abuse, and that's why we are so worried about what's happening. We believe that your county should be receiving at least not 100 million a year. You know that.
Senator Mariam Omar.
Chair, mine is also to write that this 108 million, if the governor is not in the picture by then, but there is an accountant there. And if I see there is monthly contribution, monthly depositions in the bank, if there is any deposit, there must be a reconciliation to show that this amount is deposited. Yes, from where? From individual collector. You have to call them, take the receipt books, and you concurrently do reconciliation to show that that's exactly what the auditors are asking for. So if the auditors, if the governor is pushing, his technical teams is among the people who involved in these 2021 financial statements. These show that there is a lack of internal control system, in short. So we have to pronounce to each 47 counties, because this is most of the counties have the same issue. So as a committee chair, we have to pronounce to ourselves that this internal control system can be, how can we deal with this issue of the internal control system of individual counties? Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Mary Omar. Senator Gituku, do you think 108 million is a on-source revenue potential for Lamu?
And he was an MC and
Thank you very much, Chair. Let me start by saying that I am a very disappointed senator today because of how things are going in Lamu. Because in the first place, if it is true that the governor is telling us that he was not in the office by then, I agree with him. But then there are some staffs that were in that office and they are here today. They cannot be able to explain what happened. Yes, somebody was sacked. There's a procedure as to why that there's a procedure of sacking somebody and employing somebody. If that person was terminated or his contract was terminated, there is a way that this team is supposed to show us, to show this committee that this is what happened. Secondly, in reflection to that, it is the same thing that this team is applying for not providing the proper document as to how those funds were spent or how the funds went. So I am disappointed because I believe this team is conversant enough, and I would wish to call the governor and tell the governor that it is not the first time that we are in this committee, and I happen to appear as a friend of this committee when the Auditor's General report is being interrogated. But the thing that revolves around is the issue of capacity in Lamu. I would wish to call upon the governor and tell him if indeed there is a problem of capacity in Lamu, the current governor needs to stamp an authority and do something so that Lamu may not be in bad books as it is right now. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Senator. And we are firm on the governor because we believe that if there was lack of capacity, it cannot be in the governor's office. It could be elsewhere, but not in the governor's office because your public record speaks for itself.
maybe a quick observation, and that could be the reason Lamu did not achieve the target. If you look at the note number 9 on county on generated receipts, curiously land rates, there is a fall of almost 4 million, where in the year 2020-21 it was 8.6, but in 2019-2020 it dropped to 4.3, a difference of around 4 million. I hope you will not say it is COVID. That is on land rates, because land rates were not affected with issues of COVID. So that's a significant drop. And then there was another quick observation that also signboards and advertisement fee, a significant drop of almost 1 million, where in 2020-2021, 3.3, in 2019-22, 2.7.
Look at fiscal planning.
Fiscal planning, it's in 2020-2021, 577,637. And then in 2019-2020, it was 17,490,280. A whooping difference of almost 16 million.
Which tells you something.
There is monkey business here.
Monkey business. So look at sales of flowers and mirror.
Sales of flowers and mirror. In 2020-2021, it was 15,677,450. But in 2019-2020 financial year, 168,600, a difference of another 14 million. So what is happening in Lamu? Or the people did not receive flowers during that time, Governor? or even Mira.
Secretary Chirake, the governor's admission that all these streams cannot be supported by schedules, I think just cast doubt on the on that 108 million.
Yes.
Auditor General, is which aspect of that finding have we not dealt with so that we go to automation?
Maybe, Chair, as an observation, Governor, you can see there is a serious problem, because you cannot tell me you are collecting 15 million in this financial year, then you drop to 15,000 in next financial year.
I don't know which figures you're talking about.
I'm looking at your own financial statements. This is your own document.
Remember, we are looking at the Auditor General's report on your financial statements. So we are using your financial statements as a point of reference.
And in fact, the people who signed...
And the signatories are sitting next to you. That is page 30 of your financial statements where you're explaining note number 9. So you collected 17 million one year, the next year you collected 500,000.
Yes, the next year you collect 15,000, the next year you collect...
So probably you collected 17 and pocketed 16.
The rest.
And only reported 500. You see, Governor, this exercise is also useful. It brings to your attention some of the monkey business that is going on, or that was going on before you came back to office. Is that explainable, that line that you're looking at?
It's page 31. It's page 30, 31.
On physical planning.
Yes.
Physical planning, I'm actually confused.
And on sale of flowers and mirror?
Because realistically, we don't have those numbers of buildings coming up which will generate 17 million.
What about flowers?
I stand to be corrected.
And on the line up there, sales of flowers and mirror?
This is basically mirror. We have no flowers.
Yeah.
When business was booming and mirrors were being taken by road to Lamu, then onwards to Somalia, then it stopped once they started using aircraft.
So you can explain from 100,000 to 15 million?
Yes.
That's a huge difference.
From 100 to 15 million.
Lamu was the main conduit of Kenya's mirror to Somalia. It's not sales to Lamu. This was headed onwards to Somalia.
The only thing you can't do is to break down that 15 million.
The only thing I have query on is this 17 million of fiscal planning.
The governor himself has cast doubt on the schedule.
So you are querying the committee or you are querying your people? And there are no flowers. The people in Lamu don't like flowers.
No. Flowers are not in our culture.
Oh, okay. Na wazungu ambao wanakuja kutembea, tourist.
They import theirs by aircraft. We'll never get to see.
Fine. I think we have demonstrated and confirmed that we are in agreement with the Auditor General.
Yeah.
Auditor?
The only issue, and which now puts us on which puts them on the toes, is that there was an attempt to balance between the previous year's revenue receipts and the current year's revenue. It's instructive to note that 2019-20 they raised 108 million, 108.9 million. 2020-2021 they raised 108.4 million.
Auditor General, when you have cast doubt on the completeness of that figure, don't even refer to it.
Okay.
The governor himself has cast doubt on 17 million as being a potential revenue.
I'm just being informed, and I may have to take back what I said. There was a big payment by Lapset when they were, but we need to verify that.
Yeah, but that's the schedule the auditor is asking for,
if that happens,
which is not available.
If it was a payment from Lapset, then that will explain
in
the
fiscal
rise to,
planning.
Yes.
But in accounting, you do not speculate. You confirm every single cent. So let's not be speculative. I think we agree with the Auditor General that this amount cannot be accounted for. Senator Onyonka, we move to automation?
Yes. But maybe, Chair, you can direct, I don't know, it depends on your guidance, that aspect of Lapset, because if the governor says that they need to be specific, if we can see some evidence to that effect, if there was that payment from LAPSET, so that we put that matter to rest. Thank you, Chair.
More Radio, 88.2 FM. We are in charge.